Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome. We are live from Books and Books here in beautiful downtown Coral Gables, Florida, with thanks to the Knight Foundation for their generous support. To our internet audience watching, if at any time during tonight's presentation you'd like to give us a call, we've got some books for sale for you here. You can give us a call. We'll get a book autographed and we'll ship it to you free of charge anywhere in the U.S. And for the book, for the shipping, not for the book, just for the shipping. For those of you here, I ask you to please silence your cell phones and also refrain from taking any flash photography because that will interrupt the flow of our live stream cameras. We do archive these events. They are being recorded. So if you've got anybody out there on Facebook or Twitter that you want to let them know they can tune in and watch, they can watch it live. And also for the benefit of your friends and relatives that may be watching you on the internet, just make sure you're sitting next to who you're supposed to be sitting next to. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Tonight's a very special night. It's a very special night in many ways. It's the first Friday of the month, which features our gallery artist. But it's a very special night for me personally because I do a lot of these events here. I introduce a lot of these events, but I've never been able to secure an interview with a big-time movie star that we have this evening. And certainly one, certainly not one that I've personally known for years. So we were trying to get James Lipton to do this, but he doesn't answer my calls, so you're going to have to settle for me. She's an actress of stage and screen. She's an artist. She's a performer. And as you will see her beautiful art in the hallway there, a dear friend of mine, please welcome the wonderful Miss Mel Gorham. Okay. You crossed in front of me. Isn't that like upstaging?
No, that's good luck.
All right, so we all know of your film career, all the things that you've done since I've known you, at least since it's been going on since that I've known you, your TV business and all your movie roles. Is there any one in particular role that you'd like to talk about that influenced you or was one of your favorite? By the way, you had, I saw Copland was on the other night on HBO. I saw she has like a wonderful death in Copland. I love that. That is one of the best deaths I've ever seen, and especially somebody that I know. It's like, I know her. She's still alive. Give us an idea of one of your best roles, your favorite roles.
It just happened now in my 50s. I started acting at 12, and at 55, last year at the summer, the movie's coming out in a few months, it took me an entire career. And who knew retirement was going to be this delicious? I retired a few years ago. I was exhausted from the industry. It wasn't working for me anymore. I had a wonderful career, extraordinary directors I worked with and great actors I've been able to share the stage and the screen with. But something happened one day. It was very spiritual, and I woke up and I said, no more, and I gave it up. And it's funny because when you throw the towel in sometimes, that's when the magic happens. And I got a phone call from a gentleman that I met at the University of Miami Ring Theater when I was 17 years old, and he said, I just wrote a movie, and you are the person that I want to have play the female lead. I said, but I'm in my 50s and I'm retired, Scott. And he said, I'm going to fly you, if you say yes, to Buffalo, New York, and I want you to read the script and you tell me what you think of it. I had been pigeonholed my whole career because my mother was Cuban, and my father's an American and he's Jewish, and my name is Schneier, okay? But I had been pigeonholed my whole career as playing the Latina. And it was, they say timing is everything. So I bring this up to you because no one really gave me the chance in 35 years of an acting career to where I was really allowed to do what I know how to do until Scott Rubin came along. And he had been the chief of editor for National Lampoon for over 27 years. And we kept trying to do things together through my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, but nothing worked out. When Scott sent me this script and I read Fran, who was a Xanax-addicted, wannabe Jewish woman, who really is only like 1/3, maybe less, and whose son is gay, and she's not having it. And he's going to get married in Niagara Falls, which is where we shot it, and just, not well. And I wasn't playing a Latin woman for the first time in all these years, you guys, and in retirement. I had to say yes. Halfway through, I was laughing and crying at the same time. And I called him back and I said, book it. I'm there. I don't care how much money you pay me. I really don't. I just want to do this because I need to do this for closure before I go to my grave. Well, I went there and I shot it. I did it in 12 days. And it was the hardest, most demanding role I have ever played. And it's about to come out. And here's the gratification. I now can go to my grave with a big smile on my face and with closure. I did it. I'm done. And when this all finished up, I got a call from him, and he says, do you remember that day, Mel, at Denny's, when we shot that scene that you have the nervous breakdown with your family at the table? I said, yeah. He says, remember that standing ovation you got from the cast and the crew? I said, yeah, that was pretty special, man. You know, I didn't even remember it because I was so in character. I mean, I had this nervous breakdown at Denny's, eating a burger, and I don't even eat meat. And so, and the funny thing is he says, you know, that's going to be your Oscar nom, Mel. And I said, you know what, from your mouth to God's ears, but I don't care if it happens or not because I did the work. It's done. It's in the can. It's on the silver screen. It's coming out this year. And it's called The Rainbow Bridge Motel. And it's like the birdcage. So I hope everybody goes to see it and enjoys it. It's a comedy. It's very funny. Yeah. And I'll let you all know about it. Okay, promise. But that's the role for me. It took this long. You know, it's a little creepy, but this is the truth. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer honestly.
You mentioned the UM and a lot of the people that you went to school there with. I know I've gone on to things as well as you have. Mm-hmm. Any interesting stories about any alumni there that you've hooked up with later on, or that you've worked with?
Well, you one of them. I've known him since I was 5 years old. I want you to know we went to kindergarten. 10 years?
We've known each other for 10 years?
10 years we've known each other. We went to elementary, everything, kindergarten. Yes, Ray Liotta, and I ended up doing a film with Ray Liotta called Copland years after, you know, he graduated the University of Miami and I graduated the University of Miami. And then I have a family, a surrogate family here in Miami, a woman named Lillian Bethay, who's the mother of Stephen Bauer. And Stephen and I are now partners in a Broadway musical that I'm putting together based on the story of my 5 husbands.
How many?
My 5 husbands.
Thank you. Okay.
And it's called The Big 5 Club. Of course, my current husband is the most fabulous one of all, and he is. And he and that's him over there, the most interesting Cuban in the world. And the funny thing is that Stephen Bauer is going to portray him on stage. Now, if that ain't closure, or that ain't complete, you know what I mean? And I created this company here in Miami about 10 months ago called the Black Cat Society, because I always grew up thinking I was ugly because I was told by my aunt that I was the most ugliest thing ever, then I was never going to find love. That's what the whole Broadway show is about. A little girl who's basically told that from a mean aunt that, you know, she's absolutely got a big Jewish nose, skinny legs, no tits, and she's never going to go anywhere. Much less find love. Well, then, you know, I had 5 no jobs, got married 5 times, and her. So, you know, what goes around comes around. So,
and here we are.
And here we are. Hey.
Let's switch a little bit to your art. I don't know if you've got a chance to see the gallery wall in there. The Mel's fantastic art I saw back in October. She had a display going on in a place in the Grove, and I said, you got to come to Books and Books, and you got to have your art there. What was the switch between, or the add-on to your acting career, to your performing career, to being an artist? And was there anything that just was like a main influence for you in that realm?
Oh, Steve, that's a loaded question, man. You know, at 37 years old, I'm going to make most people make a short story long. I'm going to make a long story short. Yeah, it's the other way around. I know. I'm being really facetious. No, the bottom line is that 37 years old, I had lost this huge job. This is, you know, something that you're promised in life, that, you know, you got your own television show on NBC, right? It's between Friends and Seinfeld, okay? And it's created just for you, about your life. And you spend 3 years of your life preparing for it. You're dangled carrots like you've never been dangled in your face before. Money, like, I looked at the check, and I thought the comma was in the wrong place. Okay? I had never seen money like that, because actresses, unless you make it to Julia Roberts' level, you don't see money like this. So I took it. I went from, doing theater in New York City, and I took this job, and it devastated me. When one day, on Friday the 13th of June, I got a phone call after the pilot was shot. I got picked up for 13 episodes on NBC primetime television, and I was told, buy your Mercedes-Benz, buy your house in the Hollywood Hills. You are going to be the biggest thing on television since Desi Arnaz. Okay? I bought it. I bought the bullshit. And the day that phone call came, I was so devastated that, I've never really been able to get back to where I was until now. So I decided to get back on the horse that bucked me. And I went back to California. And I went there and I went, oh, really? I started painting. At 37 years old, I picked up the first brush and the first canvas. I had never taken a class. You could look at my work and it looks like I've never taken a class. But it comes from here, guys. This is my artwork comes from here.
It's unique.
Thank you.
It is.
He can say that he bought a painting last year. And so I went to California, and that's the first time I went and bought a bunch of canvases. I had been paid a lot of money. That I didn't grow up with money. I wasn't a rich kid. My parents were working, stiffs. My mom was a beautician. She had come from Cuba. When she was 21, didn't speak a word of English. My dad was an American journalist at the Miami News for 30 years, and he was a great writer. So I didn't come from money. So when I got this big paycheck, even though I didn't get to do the 13 episodes, I took the money and I invested it in real estate. And I took some money and I started to buy canvases and paint. And little by little, people would start coming over my house and going, hey, who did that? I did. And I would give my paintings away. So many people in LA have my paintings and they have them for free. I gave them away. I didn't think they mattered. They were a way for me to release because I was very disappointed and very angry with Hollywood. Give me a second.
So the result is what we see out here. Was there any one particular moment that you had somewhere around New York, like a place like around Union Square,
Yeah.
that you that you felt that this is the turning point for
Yeah.
you as far as art was concerned?
Yes. 4.5 years ago, a girlfriend of mine, a painter, came to me and said, you have something going on here with your females. You paint female faces and you add jewelry on them. Where do you get this jewelry, Mel? I said, I've traveled the world and I pick up pieces on the streets of Paris and streets of New York, and I see one earring and I get it and I put it in the here. You go to a bathroom, you see somebody left their lipstick, whatever, you grab it and I had this collection of things, of jewelry and pieces. And I started to paint women's faces when I was 39, 40. At first I was painting poodles. And I didn't know why I was painting poodles, but I love standard poodles. Even though I've always had Great Danes, I love standard poodles, and I started painting standard poodles. But I wasn't satisfied with that. And all of a sudden, I started painting women's faces. And I started adding earrings and bracelets and necklaces and fur and feathers. And then all of a sudden, I gave these 3 very beautiful paintings back about 12 years ago to my surrogate family, Kevin and Diane, and they started hanging them in their house. So when I go to their house, my paintings were in their house. I thought, maybe I got something here, So this girl asked me if I wouldn't mind selling my paintings on the streets of Manhattan. I thought about it. I said, what the heck do I have to lose, What the heck? I'm an artist, right? I better do something, because living in New York City in my apartment and just painting. And I did it. I did it for one summer. Can I have some water, please? Thank you. I got kicked off the streets. by every cop. I had my Great Dane dog with me, Isabella. I had a black umbrella. I wore black. I had music playing in my little radio, and I had this little cart. Now, I know my husband's going to probably divorce me after I tell this story because he's told me, don't tell people this, Mel. Don't tell people this. But I have to tell you because you all came here and supported me, and this is kind of a tragic story, but this is what's gotten me to this room tonight. One weekend, I went and I saw the clouds were very, very gray, and I knew it was going to rain, and no one ever picks you up in the rain to begin with, much less with a horse. So I went to Union Square, where my show on television, look how unusual this is, my show was called Union Square, and that's where the artists sell their work in New York City. It's on like 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th Street, right around there. Are you yawning, Alina? Are you yawning?
No.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Are you nuts?
Are you kidding? And so I set up, and the guy kicked me away. He says, "You're too close to the fire extinguisher. Move." So you know what I said? You know, I'm packing it up. I packed it up, and all of a sudden, a thunderstorm came and lightning. It was unbelievable. I'm walking down the street from 14th, 18th Street down to where I live, up to where I live on 35th and 5th. And on this 5th Avenue, I'm running now, and I'm trying to hail a cab. Impossible. I figured, that's it. I got to get to my house with all my stuff, and I have a cart. Now visualize this. I have a cart, a Great Dane, okay? My paintings are all strapped up. And I'm pushing it with all my might, my chair, my umbrella, everything's like packed up with bungee cords. And I take this fall on the sidewalk that broke my knees open. And it's pouring rain, thunderstorm. And blood is coming out of my knees down the sidewalk. And I'm like on the floor. And my dog is like freaking out. And she's soaking everything. She's going like this with the wet, you know. And all my paintings start to drip. All my faces start to drip. And they're intertwined, my paint, with my blood. Going down the sidewalk. Yeah, that was funny, wasn't it? I thought it was years later. And all of a sudden, it was like I sat down. You know those moments? Has anyone ever had one of those moments? I'm sure you all have, maybe in your life, where you just say, yeah, fuck it. You know? And that was the day that happened to me. And I had to throw all my paintings out, you know, like hundreds of dollars worth of canvases at work and hours. I threw them in the garbage. I went back to my apartment. I took a hot shower. I opened up a bottle of wine. I sat there and I actually looked at myself in the mirror and went, you gotta be kidding, you know? And that was the end of that. I didn't paint for 2 years. I couldn't pick up a brush for 2 years. And then when I came to Miami, because I decided to retire, and I decided to take care of my old man, who's 88 years old now. Unfortunately, he cannot be here. I wish he could. He would normally, but my father is a great inspiration in my life. My father is an enormously intelligent and very talented individual. And my mother and him gave me 50-50 or whatever it is I do have. So I came here to take care of him. And when I did, I met this wonderful man 10 days after I moved here. I married him, and I started painting again. And here we are. No, no.
It sounds like the pilot episode of the show, that whole
Yeah,
thing you just
not
went
a bad
through.
idea, Steve, not a bad idea.
And don't divorce him, because then you'd have to change all the publicity to the Big Six.
My Big Six.
The Big Six Club. Tell us a little bit about the Black Hat Society that you have. What's
you know,
deal?
don't screw with me, because the members are here and they'll kill you.
No. I'm just here to ask the question.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait. Oh, it's James Lipton. He wants.
No way.
No, just kidding.
You know that James Lipton's like my favorite. Okay, he's the one that's on TV that interviews all the famous actors on a show called An Actor Studio, and he's perfect. He's perfect for James Lipton.
Do I look that old?
No, you don't. He's a fossil, Steve.
I'm a fossilette. Okay, go ahead.
My whole life, I was an only child. Okay. Hi, Angelina. Hi, Nico. My whole life, I was always looking for a place to call home because I was this only child. And I, had friends, but it's not the same if you have brothers and sisters, like these families that I love so much, who are so close and they're so beautiful, and they've accepted me. So I have a family. I have families now, and I always wanted to find a place that I can call home. With girls, because I never really got along with girls. I was always a guy girl, like I like guys. But I was never a lesbian. But if I was, I would be the best one. I'd be Ellen DeGeneres. But I'm not. I love men, and so I was always trying to find. When I was out in LA, I tried to join the women's club, and they wanted $2,500 a month for membership. And I went into, just like a trial. They let you come in for a trial. And everybody there, was like an Amazon, these beautiful blondes with these lips and these bodies. And I was just this Looked around. I so did not belong. And I never went back. It's like a bad AA meeting, And then I tried it in New York. And I walk in, and everyone there is 92 up. And they're like this. I so didn't. And they were like $1,000 a month to be a member of this club. And when I was making money, I thought, this is a good place for me to meet people, to like grow, learn. There's something interesting about this. It didn't work there. And then I came here, and I went to the Coconut Grove Women's Club. I hope nobody's a member here, because you know what? I went there, and it was like, an artist. We don't need that here. So I never found a home where I can grow with a bunch of women and get to finally learn how to love women. Well, guess what, you guys? 10 months ago, I gave a party, with my husband and I gave a party for my family from New York who moved here, who are opening a brand new restaurant here in the Gables called Son Cubano, like any year now. And no, it's going to be right down the street. It's going to be incredible. They're New Yorkers, and they're incredible restaurateurs. And anyway, we threw them a big party. That night, I gave birth to a 9-pound baby. I have a sign that I bought for $1 at Marshall's that says, "Member of the Black Hat Society." And one of my drunk friends was wearing my hat. And she was like, "Look, Mel, look how good I look. Can you take a picture?" And right above her was the sign in my kitchen that said Black Hat Society. She was wearing my big black hat. And I went, holy mackerel. And next day, look, I swear to God, I called Elizabeth. And I said, "Elizabeth, guess what? We got to meet for lunch because I got an idea." And we met for lunch that week, and I said, "What do you think if we call upon a few of our friends, and especially that my friends came from New York now, and they don't know anybody, and we bring them in, because that way they'll get to know a lot of people, Diana and Claudia. They'll get to meet a lot of people. And, I already have my family set here with Mabel and Alina and Mary and my friend Diane. I figured, I have enough women that I can start." It started off with 7. And that was 10 months ago. We had the meeting at my house, and we sat there, and everybody had one thing in common. They love to drink champagne. What a great society, okay? So what did we do? I went and bought champagne and sushi, and we accumulated ourselves here in my beach place, a little apartment I have, and we all hung out. Man, and it was just something magical happened that day. And today, 10 months later, we are 24. Now, here's the deal. There is no fee. No money can buy you in. I don't want to see money. I don't want to see green. I don't want to see anything. All I want is for you to do 3 things. Own a black hat. Show up. Be honest and share, and be very respectful of everybody in the room. You may not like everybody, and everybody may not like you. But there's something happening here. So I went to CBS, and I said to these people by the name of Eric and Kim, the Tannenbaums, and I said, listen, I got this idea. I started it, and it's catching fire. And these women are really sharing, and we're not allowed to talk about what goes on in the room. That's a very private room. What goes on there stays there, period. And there's a growth going on, the development of female personal love and individual love, and there's something going on in this room, and I don't know what it is, and I don't even want to taint it nor question it. But I said, what do you think of doing a sitcom based on this idea, or even a reality show? Well, the reality show, I don't think a lot of these women want cameras in their house. You know, this is a little too personal, and it gets a little weird, and I don't know, we're not the Hollywood wives. This is real. These girls are real. These girls are not, you know, basketball diary wives, and these girls are real. These are unbelievable natural beauties, you know, all shapes and sizes. And I have to tell you, they really like the idea. And they're entertaining the idea of creating a sitcom based off the Black Hat Society Private Ladies Club. That's it.
Very good. Very good.
It's empowerment, though. It's self, you know, we're I guess I don't really need to get into it. You guys get it, right? I mean, you like get it. The whole idea is to find solid love. And we have a rule. It's funny. I have to say this is really funny. If there's an emergency, if anybody dies or anybody gets divorced or anybody has a terrible, terrible experience in life, we call an emergency meeting. It hasn't happened yet, but I got a feeling I'm going to be the first one. Right.
Back to the art for a moment, because that is one of the focuses for this evening.
Sure.
Is there any particular piece out there that's your favorite piece?
Suzuki Bean.
Which one?
Suzuki Bean.
And why? Why do you like that one?
Because that was my when I was born in October 27th, 1959 at Jackson Memorial Hospital. My mother's sister came from Cuba, and she didn't speak a word of English. She went to a bookstore, and she bought a 29-cent book called Suzuki Bean. And my Jewish grandmother, Minnie Schneier, used to read that book to me every Sunday because I was fascinated with it. So it was about a little beatnik in Greenwich Village, right, who grew up with a cool parents in the 60s. And that painting is Suzuki Bean to the T. That's great. And she's got a beautiful necklace on her, too.
And it's for sale.
Yes, it is.
I just want to also let you know, if you hadn't known already, the Rainbow Bridge Motel is an independent film at this point. You know, we have this great art cinemas across the street there. As soon as this comes out and it's in major distribution, I've already been working with these guys over here. This is going to be one of the first places it's going to be showing.
Oh.
So if you come...
I didn't even know this.
Yes.
Thank you.
So...
Another party.
So we'll expect to see you all back here for the premiere of that, too. I'll get those lights that go like
Oh,
this.
wait, Steve, wait. There's one other one. Edie Bouvier Bialy, the one that's out there, she's based off of Grey Gardens. I'm fascinated by Grey Gardens. Has anybody seen Grey Gardens? Jackie Kennedy's cousins, who were billionairesses who lived in the Grey Gardens, and the house fell apart, and they had 1,000 cats living in it, and they didn't shower for years. I don't know why, but I love that story. So I painted her when she was beautiful. Yeah.
Well, we have one more surprise for you. I don't know if we had any tonight, but is Vicky here? Where's Vicky?
Vicky, my buddy Vicky.
Right there.
Yay, Vicky! What's Vicky doing?
Vicky Ryan is a wonderful singer, and we are all going to now adjourn out into the courtyard, and we're going to be entertained by Miss Vicky Ryan. So,
thank you.
First and foremost, though, let's get a round of applause for Mel Gorham.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is her book. We have it out there at the counter. You want to buy one? Let's all go out to the courtyard and hear some music. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you, Steve. I love you. Thank you.